Good morning students, I am Rajendra Bhavsar, PGT Chemistry JNV Washim. So today we are going to deal with our first chapter, that is chemical reactions and equation. Actually, this chapter is divided into three parts. The first is what is chemical change, or what do you mean by chemical reaction. Then the second part is that how to balance the chemical equation. So balancing of chemical equation. And third, and which is very important part, that is the different types of chemical reactions. Types of chemical reactions. So again here I am going to explain the objectives. So in this chapter we should know what do you mean by chemical change, or what is the chemical reaction, and how to balance the chemical equation, and which are the different types of chemical reaction. Okay, so the first question is that what is chemical change? In our previous classes, that is in our 7th class, we learn about the two different types of changes which are generally takes place in our surrounding. That is physical change and chemical change. So we should know their differences also. That is, for example, the physical change is a temporary change. It is not a permanent change. And in case of chemical change, the new substances form. Okay, the new things are formed. So, in another word, the chemical reaction, also known as chemical change. Okay, in that something has happened, and from that initial substances, the new substances are formed. For example, in our surrounding, that is a fermentation of milk. It is also a chemical change. That is rusting of iron. Very important thing. That is rusting of iron metal. So rusting of iron metal means development of brown color layer on the surface of iron metal when it is in contact with the moisture. That is, in moisture, that is, there is a oxygen also in the surrounding of the iron object. Water drops also there, suppose. So in that the rusting takes place. That is, a brown color layer, that is known as rust, is developed, and which decreases the life of our iron metal. So it is also one of the important chemical reaction, or we can say chemical change. And from that rust we cannot get our metal again. For example, again, this is 1, 2, that is cooking of food. Cooking of food. So to prepare the food, we are using the different materials like raw vegetables, different spices, oil. And after cooking that food, we are not getting the same material. So that cooking of food is also the example of a chemical change. So when that is what happened actually in the chemical change. In the chemical change, any kind of chemical change, the new things are formed. Okay, the first thing is that new substances are formed. Okay, the second thing is that generally it is a permanent change. Permanent and reversible change. Okay, and the new thing is formed which is not easily converted into original substances. Okay, so that means this is a generally irreversible type of change. So this type of changes we should know that happen, that seen during a chemical change. So that chemical change is also known as chemical reaction. So to perform a chemical reaction, we need some materials. So these materials are called as reactant. Okay, and from the reactant, in certain suitable condition, that may be a suitable temperature or pressure, we get a new substances. That new substance is called as product. So maybe one product or maybe more than one products are formed. And in case of reactant side, one reactant or maybe that more than one reactant also take part in a chemical reaction. So I have written here, this is the word equation. A word equation for a chemical reaction. Suppose for example I have suppose I put some pieces of the zinc metal, in the blue color solution of copper sulfate. Okay. Then here the reaction takes place, a chemical change or chemical reaction takes place in between the copper sulfate and zinc metal. We get the colorless solution of zinc sulfate and the copper will set free. Okay. So to perform this reaction, we can take a test tube. Okay. Suppose this is a test tube. In that test tube, suppose I have taken, this is copper sulfate, blue color copper sulfate, and I put some pieces of the zinc. So this is CaSO4 plus zinc, and we get a. Then after some time, the blue color of the copper sulfate, this is the blue in color. So this blue color of the copper sulfate get changes, and a colorless material, that is zinc sulfate, is formed, and at the bottom of the test tube we get the reddish copper which is deposited at the bottom. So this is the one of the example of the chemical reaction. Okay. Then let us we move toward the next part, which is very important. It is how to balance the chemical reaction. So do you understand, dear students? So in the first part we have seen, so what is actually chemical change and what is needed for to perform a chemical change or to take place a chemical change. Okay. So reactants are take part in the chemical reaction and products are formed under suitable conditions. Okay. That is second point is that balancing of a chemical equation. Okay. So what is chemical equation actually? So to understand a chemical reaction, we are writing in a systematic way. We are writing the reactant and product. For example, to the right hand side we are writing the products, and to the left hand side we are writing the reactant. Again here, suppose if we burn the piece of ribbon of magnesium. Suppose this is the magnesium. So I am going to write a word equation here. Magnesium, if we burn the magnesium ribbon in air, that is in presence of oxygen. Oxygen is present in the air. Then we get it burns with a very dazzling flame. Okay. Then already we have seen this experiment in the 7th class, and we will see this in our experimental activity. Then white powder of magnesium oxide will form in this reaction. Okay. So here the reactants are magnesium and oxygen. Oxygen present in the air, and burning of this magnesium ribbon in presence of oxygen, we get a white powder of magnesium oxide. So these are this magnesium and oxygen, these are the two reactant, and the magnesium oxide is a single product which is formed here. Okay. So this is the word equation. Now I am going to write the formula equation. So in that formula equation we are writing the symbols if the metal that is if the elements are used, or we are writing the chemical formula of a chemical compound. So magnesium, the symbol is Mg. Oxygen we are writing generally O2, and we are getting the magnesium oxide, that is MgO. Here that according to the law of conservation of mass, in a chemical reaction, the mass of the product and reactant will be equal. So masses of these two reactant, that will be equal to the mass of this product. So for that we should take the equal number of atoms of that material. So here magnesium, let us count the total number of magnesium atom into the both sides. Here the magnesium 1 atom, here. Then oxygen, here 2 oxygens are there, and here only 1. Suppose I write the 2 as a coefficient. If I multiply this right side, product side by the 2, then we will get 2 oxygen. So that oxygen will be equal. But the problem is now magnesium. Then suppose I write 2 magnesium, then 2 magnesium, 2 magnesium, 2 oxygen, 2 oxygen. Okay. Here both reactant and product sides are equal. Atoms of the reactant and products will be equal now. Okay. So this is the balance reaction. For example, so many times the chemical equation already balanced. there is, if all the reactant and product, they are equal, their atoms are equal to the both sides, then there is no need to balance. For example, here again, suppose if we take the reaction between iron and copper sulfate again, okay, iron and copper sulfate, then we will get the FeSO4 plus Cu. Here one iron, SO4 complete, this is a polyatomic ion, SO4 1, Cu 1. So for this reaction there is no need to balance the chemical reaction, okay. But so many times we need a chemical reaction to balance. For what? Just to maintain the equal number of atoms of reactants, okay. So that balancing of chemical equation is very important task, okay. So many times the question will ask in the exam, and in the exam the question is given that unbalanced equation given, we have to balance it, okay. So for that we have to count the number of atoms to the both sides. So this is about the balancing of chemical reaction equation. Then third and very important, so till this time we have learned about the two parts, that is first what is chemical change, and the second is that how to balance the chemical reaction. Then third point is that very important, that is types of chemical reaction. It is very important points. It is very important point, because in the nature, then in the laboratory, chemical laboratory, there are so many reactions are going to take place, okay. So many reactions are feasible, some are not feasible, so we have to make them feasible under suitable condition. So we should know the different types of chemical reaction. Under this head we have to learn the near about 5 reactions. That is, first is that combination reaction. Then second is that decomposition reaction. Then displacement reaction. Okay. The next, double displacement reaction. Then last one is that redox reaction. In that we have to study the two different types of reaction, that is oxidation and reduction. Okay, so here again I am repeating the name of the different reactions, that is combination reaction, decomposition reaction, displacement reaction, double displacement reaction, redox reaction. And under the redox reaction we have to discuss about the two different types of reaction, that is oxidation and reduction. Okay, so this reaction, sometimes this reaction, from their name only we can understand the mechanism or the nature of the reaction. Okay, for example, this combination, here the more than two or more than two reactants combine together and join single product may be formed. So combination itself, that word indicate there is the reactant get combined, get fused together. Okay, then again opposite to the combination reaction, that is the decomposition. Decomposition means breakdown into two pieces, suppose. So here mostly the single reactant are used. In this case generally two reactants are combined together. But here opposite to this decomposition reaction is the decomposition, that breakdown of that single reactant into one or two or more than two products. Okay, so this is the breakdown reaction, you can say. The displacement reaction. The displacement reaction, that is one reactant that takes place place of other reactant, we can say. So somebody is displaced to other. Okay, the reactant which is more powerful is involved in the displacement reaction, and we displace the less powerful or less reactive part of that reaction. Okay, Then double displacement reaction, here the two different salts are there, and there is a ionic, there is an exchange of ions takes place, similar type of ions takes place. Okay, then displacement means that means it's a replacement reaction. Then redox again. Redox, suppose so many reactions are there. They are simultaneously redox, oxidation and reduction. Both the process are takes place simultaneously. So, and in some reaction there is only the oxidation takes place. In some reaction there is only reduction takes place. But so many reactions also there. Both oxidation and reduction takes place in the redox type of reaction. So let us focus on the first, that is combination reaction. Combination. Dear students, so it is your duty that you also understand this concept from my video. Also, you have to read this reaction from the textbook. The reading of the textbooks is very important. Okay, so, and you have to prepare your self note also. Then combination reaction. Already I explained the meaning. Combination means there is a that is two reactions get combined. For example, again here, suppose I have a calcium oxide. Okay, calcium oxide. Oxides of calcium. If I allow this calcium oxide to react with the water, okay, what is water? Very simple reaction. Suppose I have taken in a beaker pieces of calcium oxide, it's a white color material, okay. Then I pour some water, okay. Then heat is over, okay. Then after that we'll get a product known as CaOH by 2, that is calcium hydroxide. Okay, and heat is also produced in this reaction. Suppose if I touch to this beaker from the bottom or from the side, we feel very hot. Okay, that means it is the example of exothermic reaction also. So here combination reaction of example is that reaction of calcium oxide with the water, we get a single product. Okay, and that this heat is EO. That means so focus on this single product. Okay, then second example, this first, this second, that is the reaction of magnesium. The burning of magnesium reveal in presence of air or oxygen, we get a single product, that is white powder of magnesium oxide. Here the single products are formed in both the reactions. So under the combination reaction, you have to understand two examples. You have to understand the two examples. You should know this simple, very simple example. Reaction of calcium oxide with the water. There are so many in the nature. There are so many combination reaction takes place. Okay, but for the understanding of this reaction, you should know. You understand these two examples. The first, reaction of calcium oxide with the water to get the calcium hydroxide, and the reaction of magnesium with oxygen to get the magnesium oxide. Here the main thing is that single product is formed by joining these two reactants. Okay, then second type of reaction is that is decomposition. Decomposition reaction. Okay, so here I already told that the meaning of decomposition. Decomposition means breakdown into two parts, we can say. So here we take a simple example of calcium carbonate. So CaCO3, calcium carbonate, that is limestone. Okay, the limestone is heated. So this triangle indicates the meaning of heat. So in the presence of heat, this calcium carbonate single reactant here. The reactant is single. Okay, this calcium carbonate, when heated at certain temperature, it breaks down into calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide. So C, the reactant is 1, the products are 2. So this single reactants is break down. This CaCO3 break down into calcium oxide and CO2. And this reaction is very important in metallurgical science. So this calcium oxide and CO2 both are used in the process of metallurgy, in the extraction of metal like iron. Okay. So combination reaction, second is decomposition reaction. Example of decomposition reaction, that is calcium carbonate decompose, break down into calcium oxide and CO2 gas when it get heated. Okay. Then second example I have. This is first example. Second example, that is electrolysis. Electrolysis of water. So water, when electric current is passed to the water, we get the hydrogen gas and oxygen gas towards the respective electrodes. Okay. So after passing the electric current through this water, we get the two gases. Okay. So these are the two reactions you should know and understand. Again I am repeating, the first was combination reaction, second was decomposition, and third, very important, that is displacement reaction. Okay. So displacement reaction, that is concerned with the reactivity of element, chemical reactivity. Okay. So these elements are arranged in a sequence or in order, that is called as chemical reactivity series. In that this is gold, Au, this is silver, Ag. These are called as a very less reactive element or noble elements, because they will not react with others. Okay, so they are very, that is inert element, you can say. These are the metal, these are inert elements. So among the metals, that is sodium, then magnesium, potassium, these are the highly reactive, you can say, highly reactive elements or metals. Okay. Then zinc, then iron and copper, they are also the reactive elements. Okay, these are the reactive elements. So here I am taking this thing. Okay. So I have given the introduction of this chemical reactivity series.